we've just got proof that a standalone Call of Duty Zombies game did exist at one point in active development but was cancelled. This is some shocking news, and I'm going to go into all of the details right away, as a former Raven Software developer revealed on his LinkedIn profile that he was the lead designer for an unreleased Call of Duty Zombies live service game. For over a decade now, us fans have dreamed of the idea of a standalone Zombies game to exist. A Zombies game that is entirely separate from any main Black Ops game, housing not just new Zombies maps, but also the entire library of Zombies maps up to that point. If even a sliver of that sounds exciting to you, you need to let me know below by clicking the thumbs up button, because I want to gauge just how many of you would love the idea of that standalone game and so Activision can see. But all the way back in November of 2011 and until June 2012, this developer was the lead designer at Raven Software on an ambitious new Call of Duty Zombies live service project. It states that it was cancelled when the Activision studio that owned that part of the Call of Duty IP wanted it back, essentially throwing shade at Treyarch, as they are the ones that told Raven Software to cancel making this game, as they wanted full control of what Call of Duty Zombies looked like at that point. And to further emphasize that this really was going to be a standalone live service game, former developer mentions every single role he had at Raven Software, where he mentions again that he was project lead of an aborted standalone game as a service / live service Call of Duty Zombies game, and then went ahead to be the lead designer on Warzone. Now, the fact that this standalone game had 8 months of development time before being cancelled is crazy sad, but on top of that, it was all being developed between 2011 and 2012, which was a time period in which I don't think a single live service video game ever existed at that point. Some great modern day examples are games like Destiny 2, Apex Legends, Warzone, Fortnite, GTA Online, games that get new contents and updates seemingly on a weekly basis. And we would have seen a standalone Call of Duty Zombies game where it would have had content continuously updated, being a home for every single Call of Duty Zombies map, old and new. Something which I have wanted for a long time, and I know every single one of you at one point has wanted a standalone Zombies game. But it turns out that Treyarch were not happy with the standalone Zombies game and got it cancelled so that they could take back Zombies in 2012. What makes this all the more crazy is that back in early 2021, hugely reputable gaming leaker Tom Henderson tweeted that there is a separate Call of Duty Zombies project in early development that is currently not connected to any title, which might have been similar, potentially even directly connected to this original standalone project that existed back in 2011. Now, there are two really interesting viewpoints that we can take from this, both from a really sad, what was the potential of this, what could it have been, but also looking at what we got instead of the standalone game, which people might argue was the better outcome. Firstly, let's discuss what this standalone Zombies game could have been like. And as we mentioned, this would have likely been the game that would house every single Zombies map to date at that point and future Zombies maps going forward. If a standalone Zombies game like this was to ever exist, then a good chunk of people that buy Call of Duty just for Zombies would never purchase a future premium game. And I think that'd be for good reason as well. With a game that would have literally every Zombies map ever in one place, I don't think you would ever get bored as a Zombies fan. And with it being a live service game model rather than it just being sort of like a collection game, would have seen constant updates and support, which would have let it stand the test of time. And the potential and avenues that we could have seen for Zombies with a game like this is actually pretty depressing. I think about the fact that this was being made in 2012. Nothing like this had ever existed, especially for a console game and especially for a Call of Duty game. But we've also got to consider just what this live service standalone game was going to be like when it was being developed solely by Raven Software. Up until that point, COD Zombies had only always been developed by Treyarch, created by Treyarch, and in the Black Ops universe. This had the potential to be something set in its own universe, completely separate from the ideas of what COD Zombies had become at that point, and it could have been something entirely different. The first Zombies mode that Raven Software truly produced on their own was Exo Zombies in 2015 as part of Advanced Warfare. Yeah, even though Sledgehammer Games created Advanced Warfare, it was Raven Software that led development and created Exo Zombies. Now, I don't think it's fair to completely judge Raven Software and Exo Zombies because they were just creating a Zombies mode within the Advanced Warfare theme that they were given, but it was probably the weakest COD Zombies mode we've ever had. A multitude of poor design choices in some of the later maps which just go against everything a Zombies map should be. AI civilians that needed escorting and rescuing rescuing during a round, or AI soldiers spawning in during a round with a bomb you've got to defuse, just like search and destroy. These design choices go completely against the ethos of what good round-based zombies gameplay is. And with full leadership and development on their own zombie standalone game, there's a chance that it might not have even been round-based. It could have been something like DayZ, it could have been a bit like Outbreak, it might not have even been comparable to anything we've seen before, because it could have just been a completely new take on what Call of Duty Zombies could have been. And when you think of it like that, it could have been led down a very scary path to a future that could have been so different in a negative way. It's so funny looking at the fact that this was cancelled because Treyarch wanted to take Call of Duty Zombies back, like as if at the time it was impossible for any more than one studio to have Call of Duty Zombies in their games. Something clearly changed over the years, otherwise we wouldn't have seen zombies modes in Advanced Warfare and Infinite Warfare and World War II. But the one positive thing to come out of this cancellation is that Treyarch delivered us Black Ops 2 Zombies instead. And for all we know, Transit may have been something that was part of this standalone Zombies game, especially considering how ambitious Transit is as a concept. And the final product that we got in Black Ops 2 was definitely one that had many sacrifices cut in order to make that map function on those consoles. Then when you look at the bigger picture and zoom out, you'll think that if this standalone game existed, we wouldn't have gotten Black Ops 2 Zombies, which means we then wouldn't have gotten Black Ops 3 Zombies. We wouldn't have gotten Zombies Chronicles inside of Black Ops 3. There could have been some weird terms where they were not allowed to actually put previous existing Treyarch Zombies maps in this game because it wasn't a game being developed by Treyarch. It'd be using all of Treyarch's Call of Duty Zombies IP, but all that content not being in Treyarch's own IP. There's also the likely chance that a game as ambitious as a live service game back in 2011, I don't think that would even have been possible. The only time massive bugs in Call of Duty games were fixed is whenever there was a new DLC release, as that came with an update. But outside of that, we never really had hot fixes and weekly updates to Call of Duty games that we see nowadays. But that isn't to say that if this idea was revisited today, this standalone Zombies game would be genuinely incredible, because it's way more likely that every Treyarch-owned Zombies IP would be within that standalone game. We also have such a massive back catalogue of Zombies maps now compared to 2011 that it would be such a content-rich collection of Zombies experiences. It would be absolutely insane. And with the fact that Microsoft now officially owns Activision and every single Call of Duty IP, they get to make the decisions now on what happens in the future. And looking at how Microsoft treats some of their beloved IPs like Halo with the Master Chief Collection, you can't write off the possibility that Microsoft could do the same thing with Call of Duty Zombies. It's so fascinating when you ask back in 2015 to Jason Blundell, why isn't there a standalone Zombies game? And his answer was that they want to cram that game disc with as much content as possible for your $60 so you think it is worth it. And Zombies is just part of that package. Furthermore, as much as we don't want to admit it, Zombies, whilst it has the most dedicated fan base of anything in Call of Duty, it's also potentially the smallest portion of the overall fan base. And so a completely standalone Zombies game would be quite a risky business decision, but I could easily see them doing a free-to-play Call of Duty Zombies game just like we see with Warzone, somehow being able to monetize that whilst also adding free maps to it. But another really interesting point to make is that Zombies in Modern Warfare is pretty much the closest thing we've seen yet to an actual COD Zombies live service game. I mean, you have 24 players all roaming around within one match. It is on a massive map which is continuing to evolve and change with updates over time, to the point where it's hard to argue that the mode isn't a live service game. But it's due to the nature and design of that mode that it can exist that way. But for a round-based Zombies map, I don't think a live service round-based Zombies makes sense. But with the massive history of cut games and content from Call of Duty over the decades, in my opinion, there is equal chance this standalone game will never see the light of day, or that the fragments of this standalone may be reused and created for a standalone at some point in COD's future. It might not be next year, it might not be in 2 years, it might not be in 5 years, but there is every possibility that at some point in the future, standalone COD Zombies game could one day exist. We just don't know. But I'd love to know your thoughts about this all in the comment section down below. Make sure you never miss out on any more COD news. You need to hit that subscribe button down below.